Hey everybody, I got a little article here from, I'm getting this information, so if you guys want to go look at it, you can, from Inside the Bubble, which is Ryan Harrison that writes the book, Inside the Bubble. I have a couple of books back here, I can't get them now, that I'm probably going to give away on one of the WNL game shows. It's about the Villages developers. They sold some land. It was a hunting ranch that they've had north of the Villages. Mark Moore started. It's a hunting ranch, 25 plus acres, 100 acres, fenced off, animals are in it. You pay an extreme amount of money to go and shoot and kill an animal that really doesn't have a chance. I don't like them, never did like them, but anyway, he had it and they've sold the land. Let me read you the article about it. The Villages developer sells hunting ranch. We're used to reading stories about the developer buying more land. Apparently, they recently sold some. According to several sources, a corporate entity linked to the Villages developer, Mark Morse, and his daughter, Kelsey Manley, recently sold a 2,825-acre hunting preserve north of the Villages to a Connecticut real estate developer for $15.5 million. Morris and Manley paid about $7 million for 2,400 acres of it back in 2012 and added a little more acreage to it over time. Then it says a question mark. Curious to see how the 0.01% do Florida. I don't know what that means. I guess that's like taxes or something. Anyway, you can read the whole thing. It's on his email. I'm a member of the email listing thing. You can do it too. And I recommend it. I also recommend buying his book, Inside the Bubble. I believe you can get it at Amazon, or you can go to Inside the Bubble's website here, order it directly from Ryan, and he'll get it to you. Lady Lake commissioners and the Villages Land Development Company and the Villages of Lake Sumter Landing Company are going to court. They're arguing over the apartments that he wants to build in the debunked Katy Bells in downtown Spanish Springs. They had a vote of 3-2 that said no to the apartments. He says the ruling that they're using, a city ordinance or whatever it is, isn't right, and they're saying that when Spanish Springs was built, the town was never dreamed to have downtown apartments in a historical area, and I believe that's true. I was at Spanish Springs before any of the other town squares was ever built, and there was no way you're going to convince me that that town had apartments planned in the future. This is something they just dreamed up. It's a money grab. That's all it really boils down to. It's a way of having income every month. That's why, you know, there's so many rental properties around the Villages. All the buildings downtown, all these things are owned by the developers' companies, and it's all rented out mostly to whoever. The idea of taking Katy Bells, the one and only resident only, well, and their guests, club, and taking that out was, well, I'll tell you, there were two things that really hurt the Village's reputation as far as I'm concerned, is they took the church on the square, made it into an entertainment facility, which there again, they sell tickets, and so it's about money. To a lot of people, the church on the square was more than just money. And then they took Katy Bell, and there again, it's about money, with the apartment buildings and things they want to put in there. Now, keep in mind, I don't like it, but I don't have to like it. I don't own it. The Villages is a corporation, so they make corporate decisions that's based on profitability and to their investors. They kind of have to, I think, by law. So I see both sides of the coin here, but as a resident, that's how I'm speaking to you mostly. As a homeowner and a resident here, the things that I see that I don't particularly care for, I don't have to tell you about all the good stuff. There's plenty of those Villages channels around here that's how they start. Hey, how are you doing? It's another great day in the Villages. So they'll go to court and they're going to argue about this. I hate to see Katy Bells being torn down the way it is because it just makes no sense to me at all. And for those of you that don't know, the La Riena building, the big building is right behind Spanish Springs Town Square. To the right side, if you're looking at the building, to the right side of the La Riena building is Gators restaurant right there. And then you got the La Riena building just to the left of that. Well, at the second floor up here at the La Riena building, that's a big exercise place up there. Plus there's other things up there too. Used to, that's where you went up and applied for to work for the, I can't think of the name of the company, but anyway, they run, used to anyway, they run the golf courses. That's where you got put in your application to be a golf ambassador was up there. I don't know if it's still there or not. I'm just telling you what I remember. And anyway, they're talking about putting apartments up there also. I don't know if they've actually preached that or if they've advertised that, but I happen to know that if they get what they want at Katie Bell's, that's next. That exercise room up there and everything's going to be gone. And they're going to put apartments up there also. And then, of course, you got Hacienda Country Club over there they tore down, which I thought was a violation of the agreement they had with the residents up there in that area to tear that out and do what they did. I mean, that just looks like things that could happen in the future in other areas. So if it's going to happen there, it can happen in my area a few years down the road. I got to tell you, I don't like this stuff. I don't like what's shaping up here. But as a corporate entity, I understand what's going on. I understand some of what's going on, not everything, of course. I don't have inside information. Yeah, they're going to go to court. They're going to argue about it, and we'll see how this turns out. It'll be interesting because the Villages Corporation and its entities here, it's a good old boy system. And between us and the Sumter County Commissioners over there, that's at Wildwood, they've got a good old boy thing going on. And so he gets pretty much what he wants around here. There's just really not going to be much argument about that. But in Lady Lake, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see how that happens. Is it going to be another one of them money talks and BS walks? I don't know. But I'll keep you informed as much as I can. Going along with that, here's a letters to the editor exactly about what I just explained to you. It says, to the editor, when my wife and I moved to the Villages in 2009, we had a church on the square, Katie Bell's, and Cattle Barons Club. Cattle Barons Club, people loved that upstairs. They had a great Sunday brunch. I went there a couple of times for that. I will admit, that was pretty darn good. But as far as a restaurant goes, a Cattle Barons Club, steaks and it was fair. Wasn't nothing great, but everybody likes to make it sound like it was a great thing. I'm sorry. Texas Roadhouse is better. Then things started changing. First, Church on the Square, then a Cattle Baron Club closed, and Katie Bell's moved upstairs, and I wonder how much that cost. Then they closed Katie Bell's, so, in effect, Spanish Springs was gone. My wife and I would go to Katie Bell's at least 3 times a week. Food was great, entertainment was great. We could even handle traffic on Morris Boulevard. Now they want apartments. So in May of this year, being 79 and 80 years old, we moved to Melbourne, Florida. Enjoy. That was sent in by George Hibbs, the Villa Della Vista West. Well, George, hate to see you go, buddy, but you have your reasons to go, and I respect that. And you are correct that Spanish Springs, to me, like you, isn't the same as it once was. But on the other side of that coin, when somebody new comes to the Villages and they're looking to buy a home, if they weren't here when Katie Bell's and Church on the Square was here, they don't even know what it was like. All they know is what they see today. And so they buy a house up there on what they see today. There's an old saying, you don't miss what you never had. And so that's how it goes. From one generation, you being the older generation, to whoever buys your home, it's probably going to be a newer generation. They're not going to miss Katie Bell's because they never saw it. They were never there. So with that being said, I understand, George, and I can appreciate it, and I hope the rest of you can appreciate that too. The Village is taking steps to fight hydrilla growth at Lake Sumter. Hydrilla, that's that green grassy stuff you see growing under the water at Lake Sumter. When you go around, you'll see the fish making their nests and things in there. That's the right time of year. Hydrilla growth at Lake Sumter has increased over the past few months, primarily due to a strong growing season and completion of only a partial treatment due to severe rains. We have had a lot of rain this year. District Property Management has scheduled retreatment of Lake Sumter and Cherry Lake. However, residents may not see noticeable improvement for 2 to 3 weeks after the treatment is applied. Treatment should be completed in mid to late August. Hydrilla is been claimed, started in Tampa all the way down to Miami, one of those 2 areas, and they claim that it started with people taking their fish aquariums, and you could buy this plant stuff at pet stores to put them in your aquariums. It would grow inside the aquarium, and they would just dump it into nearby creeks, lakes, ponds, whatever, and it spread from there. So if you have an aquarium that's got fish in it and things like that, and you're moving and you don't know what to do with it, the one thing you do not want to do is dump anything in that aquarium in any pond, creek, river, lake, or whatever. Everything in there is going to be an invasive species and could cause a serious problem. Here are the letters to the editor. I've mentioned this many times. I laughingly call the Daily Sun the happy paper. And those of you that don't live here probably wouldn't know. And if you haven't gotten the paper and read it, I mean, it's got stuff in there. Don't get me wrong. My wife reads it every day. She always has, though. No matter where we live, she always gets the paper every day and reads it. My dad was the same way. I personally, this is just me, I'm not poking fingers at anybody, but I personally don't trust any of the news anymore. None of it. I don't watch it. I shouldn't say that. I take glimpses of things. If I know they're going to talk about some important thing that I need to know, or should know, or want to know, then I do watch that portion of it. But when it comes to any political news, I don't believe none of it. And you shouldn't either. The idea of taking one side over another side to me is asinine, and it just shows me how people can be brainwashed, and I just don't watch it. And I tell you what, since I quit watching any of the news, like Fox is one of them I don't watch much because they're one-sided. CNN's another one I don't watch hardly at all. They're one-sided. And there's a few other ones. I do watch some local news because I want to know what's happening locally. But when they start getting in Washington, D.C. tonight, boom, I'm done. That's when I change channels. I don't want to hear it. And I feel so much better in my mind and everything about it. This is the letters to the editor. It's very obvious who the Village's Daily Sun editorial board gets their marching orders from. The developer, of course, who owns the newspaper. The developer's bias was on full display in the Sunday, August 15 edition of the Daily Sun. I hope this doesn't get political because I'll get blamed for this. They spent almost a full page beating up commissioners Orrin Miller, Craig Estep, and Gary Sertz. The developer was not too happy that the people got rid of the developer back Deadwood and then voted in 3 new commissioners who are doing a great job. The new commissioner's primary focus is to support the people of Sumter County who elected them. Further, the new commissioners did not support the developer's demands to not touch the impact fees, but rather they increased the developer's portion, setting the stage for articles in the Daily Sun such as the one I referenced. Of course, the developer and the Daily Sun cronies made a valiant attempt to discredit the 3 who we the people voted in, but it won't work. In fact, next we need to lose the 2 holdover commissioners who support whatever the developer wants. The developer still cannot get past the fact that the new commissioners don't work for the developer, but rather the people, just as it should be. The Daily Sun is getting more and more opinionated in an effort to support the developer and discredit those who the people voted into office. It was so very obvious what they are doing. It's not working. In fact, if not for my wife wanting to read other areas in the paper, we would cancel it. The bias has gotten out of control. And that was sent in by Denny Zurinko, D-Z-U-R-I-N-K-O, Zurinko, the Village of Charlotte. Thank you, Denny. I've been preaching that for the longest time, but they still sell papers. What can I tell you? A drunk driver suspect allegedly involved in a hit-and-run crash was arrested at a gate in the Villages. Janelle Dalton, 45, who lives on Grays Airport Road in Lady Lake, was stopped at about 8 p.m. Monday at the gate at the Haciendas of Mission Hills at County Road 466 and Mankato Lane, according to the arrest report of Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The deputy found Dalton next to her crashed black in-color car as she was rolling around in the grass playing with her dog. She had bloodshot eyes and trouble formulating complete sentences, the report said. Dalton agreed to take part in field sobriety exercises, but her participation required a break so she could see her dog. During the exercises, she almost fell over several times. A deputy found in the damaged car a thermos cup with a lid and straw containing an unknown liquid. There was an empty small box of wine in the center console of the vehicle and 2 cans of an alcoholic beverage elsewhere in the car. Dalton refused to provide breath samples. Now, I read you that about the drunk driver getting stopped at the village's gate because I just want you to know that outside people uses the village's roads all the time as a shortcut to get to wherever they want to go. Our roads are open to the public. That includes the road in front of your house. They're all open to the public. I don't want you to get some idea that we're a gated community and people can't come in here without proper passes and stuff like that. We are what's called a community with gates. I'm sure you've heard this before. There's a total amount of difference. Community with gates basically means all of our roads are open to the public. So I'm telling you this. Let me connect the two together for you, because I think some people lose it when I say things and they don't understand what I'm getting at. Is if you're going to buy a house here, know that your roads are being used by the public. Now that means several things. One is they can come in your village, in your house, anywhere around there. They can steal, and they do. They can break in your house, especially if you're a snowbird and you're not around. Don't think these people don't keep an eye on what's going on. They do. Sometimes they'll drive through a neighborhood just to look, and they'll come back. And there's telltale signs of a house that's empty. I ought to do a video and show you some of the things that you need to really have a landscaper, a home watch person, keep an eye on certain things, because those are the telltale signs to a thief. Nobody's living in that house right now. The snowbirds are gone for the summer, and you got to be aware of all that. This lady got caught. She was going through here, come probably by our squares, drinking and partying. Everybody goes to the squares because they're free, and she cuts through our neighborhoods. Well, Community Watch caught her. They called the sheriff. Sheriff went out and they got her, and she was drunk. So if you're going to buy a home here in the village, look and see if that road is a cut-through road, a shortcut to go somewhere. Because if it is, a lot of people is going to use that road that don't live here, going to use that road as a shortcut to get to where they're going to go. It could be a shopping center, could be a shortcut going to work, could be a shortcut getting to a gas station. A lot of reasons why they use shortcut roads. And your delivery trucks, FedEx, UPS, and all these things, they'll use that shortcut road to get to wherever they're going also. So just know that if you buy a house along a road like that, you're going to get a lot more traffic there than anywhere else. I live on what we call a peninsula here in my neighborhood. We laughingly call it a peninsula. Nobody comes in our neighborhood unless they have a reason to be in this neighborhood, like a landscaper, some repair company coming in to do something. People live here, people that are visiting here. Other than that, nobody cuts through our neighborhood to get to work or cuts through our neighborhood to go down to a square. No, we don't have any cut-through roads, or what I call cut-through roads, shortcut roads. Just know that when you're buying a house. Check the map out. I sell Villages maps, but you can get them elsewhere. And look, see where that house is located, and see if that road is a shortcut to get anywhere. A lot of them are not, but a lot of them are. And then use your own judgment if you'd be happy living on one of them roads. That's all I'm saying. Deed compliance violation fines are adding up at the home of a dead man's home in the village. The home at 1671 Sellers Court in the Emily Villas in the village of Mallory Square was owned by the late David Frank Kablitz. He purchased it for $170,800 in 2014 with his wife, who preceded him in death. Community Standards received a complaint April 27 about a dead palm tree, overgrown grass, and weeds at the property. The violation was verified the following day. Last month, the Community Development District Board 6 of Supervisors found the property in violation and voted to begin imposing a series of fines at the property, which is in foreclosure and has had the utilities shut off for non-payment. As of August the 2nd, fines of the property has stood at $550 according to Community Standards, and daily fines of $50 is continuing to add up to total. Now, I read this, not that you haven't heard these violations before, because I've had a few emails here in the last week about where do you get a list of foreclosed homes down here, or homes that are in foreclosure. I assume people is wanting to buy them. This is what I'm assuming, that they're wanting to buy them and they're wanting to fix them up themselves, probably save a little bit of money and fix it up for themselves. I understand that. Sue and I made a little bit of money in our lifetime doing exactly that same thing. And so I got no problem with that. Actually, the neighbors will probably appreciate it. But I can't help you. I don't know. I don't know where this guy financed this house. And I don't know how you would get that information. I'm sure it's available somewhere. I just don't know how to get that information. If it was financed at Citizens Bank here in the Villages, which is the main bank that most people use to finance any kind of a home, just call them and see if they can point you the right direction. Now, they may or may not give you any of that information because it might be a right to privacy kind of thing. I don't know that. I mean, you laugh and say, well, what's the right to privacy? The guy's dead. I'm just telling you that there could be some issue there. I don't know. But call them, see what they say, and then take it from there. Other than that, I can't help you. I don't know how to find this information out. The only other thing you might do is call a real estate company around here. I wouldn't call the Villages real estate company because they're probably not going to tell you anything. But an outside realtor, and see if they can help you. Because the real estate people generally have information like that to where they can find out stuff for you. And see what they say. You know, it may help. I don't know. And to go along with the theme here, here's another report because our roads are being used by the public, and you just need to be aware of that. A suspect living near the village of Finney has been linked to stolen catalytic converters. Gerald John Johnson, 74, of 5115 Warm Springs Avenue in Wildwood, was arrested Monday on a felony charge of acting as an unregistered secondary metal recycler, according to an arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. He was taken into custody and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. He was released after posting a $2,000 bond. Catalytic converters are being stolen from vehicles in the Villages, and law enforcement is urging residents to keep an eye out. I got one for you. Put your car in the garage where it belongs. I see a certain amount of people that want to park their car on the street. What's the matter with you? You got a garage, you got a driveway, put it anywhere it belongs. The street, to me, this is how I feel about it. The street is not a public parking place. Is it illegal? I don't think so. But I'm not talking about legalities. I'm just talking about common sense. Put it in the garage, and then you probably won't have to worry about your catalytic converter getting stolen in the middle of the night. But I gotta tell you, 74 years old, sounds like to me that maybe he's not the guy doing the stealing. He's kind of like in the middle guy. You know what I mean? Remember we reported about the Rogue Nation members were protesting a school about something. I don't know what it all is about. I don't get involved with all that. Safety of children or guests maybe or something like that. They got arrested for, I don't know, just being a pest. So anyway, and I told you the employees up at Lady Lake at the police department or someplace up there were going to put a fence around the parking lot because these people were harassing the employees when they were coming in and out of work. I'm reading this here real quick. Going to be real quick. I'm not going to get into the whole story yet. Lady Lake sets aside plan for fence to keep out Rogue Nation members. I guess that $50-some thousand price tag was like, man, I thought it was too high too, but anyway, that's what the price tag was to put up this fence. Oh, Lord. A manager of a Wendy's restaurant in the Villages was jailed after crashing into a police car at Lake Griffin State Park. Lauren Simone Gary, 21, of Fruitland Park, was at the wheel of a white Buick shortly before 10 p.m. Saturday on U.S. Highway 27 and 441, traveling at 72 miles per hour in a 45 mile per hour zone, according to the arrest report of Fruitland Park Police Department. 27 and 441 up there is a madhouse. It's crazy nuts up there. And when snowbird season is in, I do everything I can just to avoid all of it. I don't even want to go up there. A squad car followed her as she turned into Lake Griffin State Park, which she sped up significantly while going around a curved driveway. She drove into a sign and then crashed into a pole. She put the Buick into reverse and attempted to flee. However, she collided with the right rear door of the patrol car. Wow, it just gets dumber. These people that does this kind of thing, it just keeps getting dumber. The officer got out of the damaged squad car, upholstered his Glock 21, and ordered Gary and her passengers out of the vehicle. Makes sense to me.
Gary admitted that she was trying to flee. She lost control of the vehicle. She also claimed that the marijuana in the vehicle belonged to a backseat passenger. She was driving without a license. Gary, who told police she is the manager of the Wendy's in the Lady Lake portion of the Villages, was arrested on charges of driving without a license, fleeing and eluding, and possession of marijuana. She was booked at Lake County Jail and released after posting a $4,000 bond. People just don't learn. I don't know what education they got. I don't know what goes through their mind. I just don't know. But they just do one dumb thing after another. When a cop has his lights on, he tells you to pull over. I don't care if you're doing 72 and a 45. That's not good. But look what you got now. Here's the letters to the editor. I always said it, I'm not going to make any remarks about letters to the editor. I just like to read them. Well, you know what? I'm not going to. Because I got a lot of remarks here. This person apparently doesn't watch my videos either, which a lot of them don't. Or they're not watching anybody else's videos that know what they're talking about, because I'm not going to get into it, but I'll read it to you. To the editor, it's my opinion that where you live has to do with what you can put in your front yard. After riding around in the premier sections and seeing all of the different kinds of yard ornaments they are allowed to display, it seems somewhat unfair. Y'all know I'm biting my tongue, right? We all take pride in our homes in the Villages. We all pay the same amenity fees, so why are they allowed to get by with it? Where are the trolls? I'm going to start drawing blood because I'm biting my lip so hard. That is sent in by a non-viewer of mine, Robin Pendergraph from the village of Pennycamp. Thank you, Robin.